Well, you know, here at YESTERNEWS, we're usually pretty funny. At least,
Yeah, we try to be.
at least Izzy's
We
pretty,
think we are.
Izzy's pretty funny looking, but
Yeah.
sometimes the news itself isn't that funny.
Sometimes it's quite solemn.
And as we hit this November, especially latter November, November 22nd, 1963, to be exact,
Does that ring a sad bell?
and it should.
Yep.
And so we are going to have to report some solemn news on this episode of YESTERNEWS.
That's right.
But before that, let's shout out to
our
our loyal sponsors.
Well, we should introduce ourselves.
Oh, well, of course.
You know.
I thought we...
For the first time viewer.
Introduction. Oh, yeah.
This is the old news update, and I'm Izzy Fitz.
And I'm Bud Driscoll.
And we're going to shout out to our very gracious sponsors.
Right.
Eagle Crest Retirement Community, 1501 East Magnolia, Headley's Clothing, 1829 South 9th, and Smoky Hill Museum, 211
West.
Iron.
West.
Now we're topping the headlines from
Okay,
yesteryear.
it's November 22nd, 1963.
That's right. Think of Walter Cronkite. Think of Walter Cronkite. Because he's the guy who had to tell the country of a very, very bad thing. A sniper shot and killed President Kennedy in downtown Dallas today. Governor John Connally of Texas was reported critically wounded by the blast of bullets. The president died in a hospital about a half hour after he was shot. Kennedy apparently was shot in the head. He fell face down in the back seat of his car. Blood was on his head. Mrs. Kennedy cried, "Oh no," and tried to hold up his head. Connally remained half-seated, slumped to the left. There was blood on his face and forehead. The president and the governor were rushed to Parkland Hospital near the Dallas Trade Mart, where Kennedy was to have made a speech. Later that day, the news of shooting of President Kennedy shocked Salina. Diners were quiet in restaurants. A Salina bank broadcast a bulletin over an intercom system telling of the shooting. You could have heard a pin drop, a receptionist said. There were tears in the eyes of some shoppers. People talked in low tones.
Yes, and in quick snippets over the next 3 days, as this story progressed, on November 22nd, 1963, a little later in the day, later that afternoon, as a matter of fact, Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as President of the United States, Friday, about 2 hours after President Kennedy died. Then the next day, November 23rd, 1963, Mayor Gaylord Spangler of Salina proclaimed Saturday as a day of mourning for President Kennedy and instructed all flags of the city be flown at half-staff. He urged Salinans to attend church Sunday to pray for Mrs. Kennedy and for the heavenly guidance of the nation and its new president. And then 1 day later, on November 24th, 1963, the city of Salina will observe an official period of mourning Monday from 11 a.m. to noon, the time of President Kennedy's funeral. Sad days.
Sad day. And it doesn't get any better for us here at YESTERNEWS. One of our favorite characters.
Yes, we go back 75 years.
75 years, November 21st, 1938. Dr. J.H. Winterbottom, age 65.
Yes.
He was a resident of Salina for many years as a practicing physician,
Yes.
where he followed his father in that profession. He died at 9 o'clock Sunday evening at his home at 860 South Santa Fe. He had been critically ill since the Sunday before, when he suffered an attack which left his life merely a matter of time. As members of the family recognized from the beginning, the attack culminated a period of failing health.
I think we should doff our hats.
We should doff our hats for the President, Kennedy, and
rest in peace, J.H. Winterbottom. Yes. Your name shall never pass by us again.
Nope.
And last but not least, on November 24th, 1938, and continuing the bleak news, although the county welfare fund is virtually exhausted, with less than a third enough in it to pay the December bills, there is still some cause for thanksgiving on the part of the aged, the dependent children, and the blind. For county officials announced late Wednesday afternoon that checks will be issued anyway. If necessary, W.C. Clodfelter, county treasurer, will make an early distribution of new tax money in order to meet the bills. So there's some Santa Claus and Mr. Clodfelter
Yes.
today, and not every news is bleak.
Not all. Not all. Read more about the way things used to be in the look back section of Monday's Salina Journal.
That's right, and kids, you read a lot more about November 22nd, 1963.
It was a
50th
sad day.
50 years, and it's an important time in American history. So until then, we'll see you yesterday.